Hi. For the first video of this chapter, what I'm going to do is just go through a couple of quick reminders about how to use your calculator to construct a few things. So, first thing that you want to do, if you have your calculator, is go to the home screen and just choose New Document. And what we're going to do is we're going to start with a geometry page. Now, really quickly, let's go ahead and put a segment on our screen. So you can put your segment anywhere that you want. And now, again, just a couple of quick reminders. In the menu button, you can construct things that are parallel. You can construct things that are perpendicular. You can construct a perpendicular bisector, angle bisector, midpoint, and then the stuff below we really don't use all that much. So again, let's just do a quick reminder of how to construct things that are perpendicular. Choose perpendicular, point to the thing you want it to be perpendicular to, and then move it where you want it to go. Okay, let's do another one really quickly. This time let's choose parallel. So again, I want something parallel to this line here, so I'm going to point to it, and now I have a line that's parallel. I just move it where I want it to go. Okay, another construction would be a perpendicular bisector. Now, perpendicular bisector is going to be perpendicular to whatever you point to, and it's going to go right through the middle. So I'll just point to this segment that we started with. Alright, another construction would be an angle bisector. Now, an angle bisector is going to cut an angle in half. So first thing you want to do is outline the angle, and then the bisector will pop up. Last one that we'll look at is the midpoint. If you have a segment and you point to it, the midpoint will appear. Okay, we're going to add a page. So we're going to hit Control, Add a Page, and we'll add another geometry page. Now, what I'm going to do is walk you through what we'll do in class tomorrow. First thing I want to show you how to do is construct a square. Now, let's think about a square. Squares have all equal sides and 4 right angles. So, I'm going to start with a segment. I'm just going to put some segment on my screen somewhere. Now, first thing I know is that I need to create 4 sides. I need one off of this point that has to be perpendicular to the segment I was given, and then one off of this point perpendicular, and then I have to figure out how to get those to be the same length, and then I will create the top. So, just a quick review. If you think about an equilateral triangle, an equilateral triangle has to have 3 sides that are equal. When we did constructions, we learned how to construct this with a compass. To do that, we started with the pointy part of our compass on one end point, and we made an arc that went to the other end point. And then we did the same thing in reverse. Put the pointy side of our compass on the other end point and made an arc that went on the other one. And this point up here was the top of our our equilateral triangle. So you can put a point there, and then you can see that that would be your equilateral triangle. Now, the nice thing about the circle tool is that every single point that's on the outside of our circle is the same distance away from the center of our circle. So every single radius on a circle is going to be the same length. So what I'm going to do now is construct a segment or a line, whatever, that's perpendicular to the segment I started with, and I want it to go through that point right there. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I want a line perpendicular to that segment, and I want it to go through that point. Now, what I need to do is make those lines a little bit longer, and then I'm going to put a point on the place where those lines meet my circle. So I'm going to go to Menu, go to Points and Line, and choose Intersection Point. And I want to point where the circle and that line meet. I want to point over here where the circle and that line meet. And now what I'm going to do is just connect those 2 points that I just plotted with a segment. So I'm going to go from here to here, and you can see my square kind of hidden in all of that mess. So what I'm going to do with my segment tool is just trace over my square. So there's one side, there's a second side, There's the third side, and then the segment that I started with. Now, I want it to actually look like a square and not look like it has all of that mess behind it. So I'm going to go to Menu and go to Actions, Hide Show, and I'm going to click on the things that I don't need to see. I don't need to see that circle. I don't need to see the other circle. I don't need to see that line there, and I don't need to see that one there. And I also don't need those 2 points that popped up down there. Now, if I hit Escape, what I'm left with is my square. Now, to test and see if it's a good square, I can grab a point on my square and I can drag it around and see if I can break it. If it falls apart, it's not truly a square, but if I can move it around and it stays a square, then I know that it's a true construction. So tomorrow in class, what we'll do is walk through the square construction one more time just to make sure that it really makes sense. And then what you'll do is you'll actually be assigned a quadrilateral that you will have to try to construct. It will be one of the ones that we've taken a look at in class, not the square, because that one we'll do together, but it will be one of the other 6. Okay? And that's it for today.